Welcome to TradeTheNBI.com. This is John. This report is for the 11th, Armistice Day in Europe. Well, the market continues its push, and we're getting pretty elevated here. But there's a lot of the excitement of, finalizing the Trump expectations, where things will go. And there's clear winners for business within the setup, and particularly domestic ones. It's going to start to play out differently over time, but for now, that excitement reigns. You have strong DOC sign under red, and now we finally have a congruency between the Nasdaq and the S&P. So finally clarified things and got them back into alignment. And so where we see things go from here will be pretty much even tide. From a Treasury standpoint, obviously yields declining slightly. The expectation is, lower interest rates. Obviously, it's certainly going to help deficit, but it's got to be tied to what happens to oil. And you're going to need to see oil in that, sub 70 is right now, but definitely, in that low upper 50s range would be kind of a sweet spot, so to speak, from an inflationary standpoint, as well as a lot of economic factors. So, these things become critical. Everyone knows the euro is in a world of hurt with Trump coming in simply because of what it's going to mean for tariffs and forcing Europe to be competitive, which is completely not. And the fact that the euro has been propped up by the Fed for as long as it has been an amazement. But, that's why we've constantly, every time we've seen the push up, we just wait for the signal to come in, and sure enough, it's a nice move. Pretty decent trade overall. Gold is going to be a bit more complex because inflation is not dead, and there's still going to be those that want to fade away from the idea of this ever expanding what they expect from Trump, at least big spending. And it remains to see if that turns out to be the case. He clearly was for defense spending, all the other things. What is not a surprise is what you see here from Bitcoin popping up over that 80 plus K range now, and on its way to record highs. Same with ETH. They broke out from this. We knew that was expected because of the deregulation that Trump has promised within the campaign. So it's a sort of front running that, but it also coincides with the timing of where typically it moves post having set up from at least Bitcoin standpoint. Everything's in line with it. It doesn't change the fact that energy costs in a lot of cases up until now made Bitcoin not profitable. This sort of turns the tide on that and makes a big difference. But the decline in regulatory pressures certainly going to help and make a big difference. Post-market, you can see we're up here at the peaks. When we go back to Friday's action, it was all pretty much clean, simple, straight up. Nothing really dramatic to talk about there. Don't have 50K because my trade station keeps popping in and out on me. No difference with that situation either. But overall, I think that we're pretty clean with the readings. It's going to continue to move around. I think we're going to have that seasonal push. We reached the 6,000 as expected. We were calling for that long time ago, and here we are. So it's all pretty much well within the expectations that we have. Now is where it starts to get a little bit more difficult as you start to see cabinet announcements made, and that could begin to start impacting how some people perceive which industries and things are going to do the best. And certainly you had Musk and Trump on a call with Zelensky, and that talking about at least Musk talking about ending profiteering from that. Well, it's not necessarily great news for Defense Department, but however, Trump's been a huge proponent of big defense spending. So you have to weigh both of those things in there, but economically, at least, I think it's going to create a potential resurgence, at least from a domestic standpoint. And that could save off a lot of the hard landing. The question on immigration and that will still have to be resolved, and how that fleshes out is going to be an interesting one. The negative impacts of what some people perceive as removing undocumented individuals or things like that, and whether it will become from a regulatory standpoint against business, that could change things much easier than actually this idea of deporting everyone. So we'll see how it plays out, but we'll stay on it as always. Anything relevant, I'll put on the Skype chat. Have a good one. Trade well.